A manipulator, a liar, one who lacks remorse and guilt, a creature which is prone to boredom, sadistic, and with a hint of superficial charm. These are all traits that link to one determined creature, a living being which is basically a flower. Or is he now? Hey all, it's Antonio from Merlin. Today we'll be talking about Flowey, the first major character you come across in Indie RPG Undertale, created by Toby Fox. Before I continue, I would like to inform the viewers that this video does contain spoilers. All good? Okay then, let's carry on. In this short video, we'll be talking about Flowey's personality, his roots, a few theories and a few facts you probably didn't know about one of the major antagonists in the game. Before getting into Flowey's personality, here's a little history about our odd little friend, or may I say, foe. Originally, Flowey was known as Astriel Dreamer, the child of the king and queen of the monsters, Asgore and Toriel. Being sealed away underground, Astriel lived his childhood separated from humans. However, when a child found themselves past the barrier, he soon became friends with the human child, and the two of them became the best of buds. Basically, long story short, the fallen child got sick, ended up dying, Astriel took the child to their village, Astriel was accused of killing the child, and the villagers attacked. Despite being super powerful, he refused to fight back. Sadly though, Astriel got badly wounded, ended up making his way back to the underground, and died in front of his parents. Cue the sadness for this horned little monster. Fast forward a few years, Alphys, the royal scientist, discovered a substance known as determination, which kept human souls powerful even after death. When injecting determination into monsters, the tests were unsuccessful, so the scientists decided to inject some in an object with no soul, a golden flower, one of which Astriel had died on years ago. Basically, the flower was reborn, and with all Astriel's old memories, but without his soul. He tried to live life with his dad, and then with his mother, but both were unsuccessful. He then decided to take his own life, but that was also unsuccessful since he discovered that his determination allowed him to undo and reset time itself. Basically like saving and reloading a game. He ultimately started experimenting with this new power, some good, but mostly bad. After a certain point though, this all changed. He found out that he could no longer alter time, due to a new child falling into the underground. Flowey then decides to use this new fallen child as an advantage, leading the newcomer down a route to either die and gain back his time power abilities, or allow the child to live so Flowey can get even more powerful. And that's where the game's story begins. When you are introduced to Flowey in the beginning of the game, you are given a facade of friendliness and politeness, calling himself your best friend. But whenever he drops this guise of friendliness, he often calls the protagonist a quote-unquote idiot. This determined creature can be considered malevolent and cruel, and if not following Flowey's kill or be killed philosophy, will often criticize your character. Apart from being a greedy, arrogant and devious flower, he can also be subtle, and sort of a coward really, as he kills his former father to mollify the protagonist in a vain attempt to save his own life in the genocide route. Now, before his death, Astriel was pretty docile, with lots of love in his heart. But perhaps, since Alphys resurrected Astriel without a soul as Flowey, he becomes incapable of love, and focused on resentment more than anything else. If you, as a gamer, decide to follow the neutral path in Undertale, Flowey appears just before you kill Asgore and kills him himself, destroying both his own father and his soul. Wicked relationship, don't you think? He then steals 6 human souls Asgore collected and transforms into Photoshop Flowey. After a killer battle, the child calls out to the 6 souls buried inside the monstrosity, which then decide to join forces and rebel against Flowey. which then seals away his godlike powers, leaving the determined Flower helpless. At that point, you have two choices: kill Flowey or show mercy. Killing him turns him back into a normal, everyday Flower. But if you decide to spare him, this will make him confused as to why you did that, leaving Flowey to run away after several acts of mercy. Now, if you decide to go down the pacifist route, at the end of this journey, Flowey steals all the major characters' souls, apart from the protagonist, and becomes Asriel Dreamer and challenges the player head-on. Ultimately though, he's defeated, and Asriel reaches a level of peace with the protagonist, and acknowledges that his sibling, the first fallen child, namely Chara, was not a good person. After which, Flowey, or would it be Asriel in this case, releases the souls he had taken right after using his power to destroy the barrier, which in fact lets the monsters return to the surface. One may also opt for the genocide route, one where Flowey is downgraded to the second antagonist, the main one being the protagonist themselves, since the protagonist basically becomes a murder machine and kills everything that comes their way. As the genocide route progresses, Flowey becomes scared of the protagonist, thinking someone was growing more evil than he could possibly imagine, even more so than himself. When Asgore is ultimately brought to near death, Flowey decides to reappear and gives the final blow. Flowey then follows on to cry and beg for forgiveness, and says that he's been on the protagonist's side all along. Well, before I wrap this video up, I wanted to share a fun fact about Flowey. Did you know that Flowey's real name, Asriel Dreamer, is an anagram for serial murderer? And Asriel can also be referenced to Azrael, the angel of death. Nevertheless, his name is also derived from his parents' names, Asgore and Toriel. And with that, it's time up, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you would like to watch more videos on Undertale, click on the like button below and subscribe for more Merlin content. We'll see you soon. Happy trails, boys and girls!